Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 25 of Thessia, our Australia-inspired build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, Thessia needs a big bump in population, so we're over here by the coast just outside of Adelaide. And we're going to be using a bit of inspiration from Broad Beach on the Gold Coast today in eastern Australia. Lots of towers, a couple of hotels, lots of commercial and a transport hub. And plus a little bit of terraforming here to get a new stream coming off of the main central mountain in Thessia. Turns into a fantastic build, so please enjoy your intro time lapse, and I'll catch you guys in the live play. So I'd love to kick today's Thessia live play off by getting involved with some more public transport, which we always love, don't we? So I think we're going to add a stop here on the, this is kind of the inter-island line, isn't it? We had a first person tour of this line last week on the channel. If you haven't seen it, do go and check it out. But I really love this little fused transport hub here. We've got the metro and the train line. So the metro won't go any further than this, and this will be the end of the line. It will eventually run all the way back to the airport, but for right now it's just going to terminate here. So we'll also bring this line down as well, and then we'll do some tram stuff. Lots of public transport fun to start today's episode off. We'll drag him down to this hub now, and then we've also got to add the stops back in on both sides of the platform, please. Wonderful news. So metro and train already supporting this area. I imagine we might do a bus as well from downtown to Thessia. Well, that might be a bit overkill because we're going to do trams here as well. So I would love to finish the tram line together. So let's come in and grab ourselves the tram track. We're going to bring this straight across the roundabout and make a real song and dance about this big tram cycling roundabout. Some nice IMT, lots of decoration, because it sits really nicely in the foreground of the skyline here. So this roundabout's going to be important, and it's also kind of the main entrance down into Canberra as well, once we eventually get down there. But you would have seen today, in today's episode, we're working with various different bits of Gold Coast inspiration for today's build, but very much want to satisfy residential demand because Thessia needs people. So I'm thinking we'll run this tram line directly in the middle here, straight up there. Now it is slightly elevated, isn't it? Which leads to some really interesting possibilities, so we might explore that in a second. Let's keep bringing it down to this junction here, and then we'll curve it into the actual junction. I'm going to grab some tram roads now. These are probably most appropriate, I think. Yeah, let's go for these. It can always change when we do get down this area. So Teddy built a tram depot here when he did his big bridge. So this is going to be a perfect chance to get some trams flowing back and down towards today's Gold Coast inspired area. And we need to develop a turnaround point, don't we, for the tram. So again, in the spirit of centralisation, why don't we have it come outside the station? If we can make it the same width, that would please my inner symmetries. And then what's the possibility of having a little curve here back onto the road? We definitely don't want traffic lights here because we're going to have quite a few kind of houses between this little beachfront road and the arterial. So don't want, well, there is going to be quite a lot of junctions, so we want to make sure that we turn off all the traffic lights, otherwise it's going to be insane to drive down this road. It's going to be stopping every 5 minutes. Cool, so that does complete the tram loop at this end. Again, gives us a really nice, detailable concrete space up this way. And we'll hopefully see people arriving on the trains now from Thessia. Absolutely delicious. Get some pathways back into between here as well so they can walk between the stations. Do that now actually, because that's just going to make everything outstanding, isn't it? So if we add a pathway here, I'm pretty sure they do with these Japanese ones, don't we? We've done it in another place elsewhere in the city. Cool. So hopefully we'll see some folk using the metro, although maybe the trains will be preferred. We'll have to wait and see. So let's go ahead and get that new tram line flowing. Always love a new tram. So currently Teddy's ones comes down and terminates in Canberra. I definitely want that to remain the case because this again will go to the airport with that metro line that we just hooked in. So yeah, that can go to Canberra, so I don't really want to bring that off down to the Gold Coast. But what should we call this area? If this is Canberra and this is Adelaide, this should really be the Golden Egg Coast, I guess, is the most appropriate, based on Thessia's current naming conventions of everything after me. But either way, let's come ahead and add in a little tram stop here. Teddy did this beautiful little turnaround point for us, it was delicious. I also had a great suggestion from Dannon as well to actually crack open the arse end of the train station here, which we certainly will do when we come to develop Canberra, so people can access both sides of the station rather than always having to come through this particular entrance. So we'll definitely do that and also have the tram stop in and around that area too. There's a lot of exciting projects coming up in Thessia, I think. So we can stop here and then just stop a little bit further down. And I don't think there's a need for it to stop in this section here, is there? It can stop in the middle of the roundabout because people might want to walk up to Adelaide from here, which is fine. And then again, just a few more times before the bridge. These stops will probably be repositioned, I imagine, once we know kind of where all these new buildings are going to sit, because I want some hotels down here as well, but mainly residential. And then just feed this back down the line now, mirror the stops where we can get that line completed. I just have to move it onto a slightly different one. I'm not sure why that wouldn't connect there. Is there a broken connection in the line somewhere? I'm not sure, maybe just a few too many nodes too close together, I think, in that case. But that should bring out our trams anyway. So let's change our tram vehicles here. Let's go for, this is going to be a big one, so could go for the overcharged express trams. We've got these moving around Sentinel, haven't we? Kind of want to use a new one. Let's go for the 140 capacity vanilla ones. And change this to a nice green colour. Let's have a green tram for once, shall we? Cool. So they'll move around and hopefully start coming down the line now. I'm not sure why this one is saying it needs to be connected to lines. We are taking trams from the other depot. They're coming out here. My trams are still right here, aren't they? Yes, they are. I'm not sure. You alright? Needs to be connected to lines? You don't. It's okay. You're fine. You are connected to your lines. Now, can I just reset that with move it? I know it's going to force all of the trams to probably come back out, is it? Yes, it is, which is slightly irritating, but it has taken away the error warning, so it's fine. They will eventually stagger back out. But yes, what I do want to do is to bring in a little bit of key wall work using our fences keys. We're going to open up the wonderful world of Network Multi-Tool, bang this onto a parallel mode. And I think because we've got this embanked tram line here, key wall up alongside it, now I just want it so it is just against the pavement there. That's going to be good. Let's grab that key wall now manually. And then I just want to bend that into the corner about there. That's going to be perfect, and that's really going to frame that tram line, isn't it? really exciting. That's exactly what we wanted. And same process over this side. Let's also turn off our snap in here as well, because it will try and bend into it. And that round, we want network multi-tools invert segment mode for certain sections of it here as well. I think actually in this instance, rather than going with the content creator keys, I'm actually preferring the vanilla key. We could even go for the city key as well if we wanted to have it tree lined and walkable. We also want to make sure that all these nodes are aligned as well. So then we're getting the equal segments of trees on the keys, otherwise it will look a little odd. Okay, so I really like that at the minute. Let's now grab one of our more fancier workshop trees. Which ones were we using over here? And these are kind of one of the nicer tall ones, aren't they? Let's go for maybe this one. And we need to turn that option back on in Bob as well, so we can actually upgrade our key, tree line keys. Let's move feeling one of the pine looking ones. I really enjoy the pine Australian vibe. How about that? That's a really nice tramline, isn't it? I really, really like that. That is 100% up my street. Yeah, we're definitely having that. So that can be here for the foreseeable. Let's go ahead now and grab a bit more multi-tool. We'll grab slope mode and we'll go from control space over here to grab this one. Come down to the bottom and just slope that out a little bit more. And then the same as well up to here. Slope that out so those roads are a little more even against that key wall. But again, that's really going to highlight a very cool, dramatic entrance into our city, isn't it? Once we have Canberra further down, where a lot of our kind of government and administration builds are going to lie. Fabulous. really enjoyed that. 100% one of the best tram lines we've ever done. But now we'll see trams moving around and meeting up with the transport hub down here. And there we go, people are using that pathway back from the metro to the train. 33 at the train station so far, but of course there's not much reason for people to come down here at the minute. So in terms of what we see in the Gold Coast, it's pretty simple, to be honest. I'm just going to grab some tree-lined streets here. And we'll essentially set up a framing where we can have perhaps a larger hotel. I don't know exactly what hotel we're going to go for. I would like a little bit of tourism here while we're near the beach, but a lot of residential towers as well. If we were to explore the world of hotels and retreats together, what are we looking at? Got the door. Does the deluxe hotel sit and fit? Very nearly. Big, isn't it? It's the same size as the bloody mountain, nearly. And about the same width as the skyline too, isn't it? I do want height over here. And we do have some fairly significant sized towers on the Gold Coast. Do we want it here though? Does come with pools and whatnot already here. Which will have a really cool view across the beach, wouldn't they? Do any others I'm probably not considering here? Now we've used the spa resorts in Sentinel, we won't have these over here. Got the Conference Hotel in the downtown. The Design Hotel is just extra ridiculous, isn't it? Kind of like Dr. Evil's lair. But I do love that. I really do. I know this hotel's dramatically over the top, but it is actually smaller than the luxury hotel as well. Or the deluxe one, whichever one this is called. I think we're going to go with this one on the right. The deluxe hotel. For right now, anyway. So, we'll leave it in. We're going to see how it grows on us. I'd love to knock it back off the road though. And I'll build it a little custom entrance, which we will do. So we'll have this here, kind of fill this whole space with the hotel. Very dramatic outcome in here, isn't it? Big drive into the city. I'm happy with that. And we'll grab some of these cute little one-way alleyways here. And can we get a little... We'll go for red length as well, actually. We can bring a 5 curve directly out front. So let's do that. And then we can do a little kind of hotel entrance out the front here, if we like. And then I'd like lots of little hedges out the front here. Definitely some nicer trees. We can see there as well where the hotel wants to have its kind of concrete extended, doesn't it? So let's do that while we're here. We'll go ahead and grab our brush. I'm determined to make this hotel work today. We will have it on our waterfront, because I don't think if it's not going to go here, then it's not going anywhere else in the city. So it kind of has to go here, really. Bring this concrete down, yeah. So extend those driveways out. It's like little underground parking for the hotel, isn't it? We will have some beachfront parking along here, though, again, kind of referencing that inspiration on the Gold Coast today. I'd love some colour in amongst these little bush linings as well, if we can afford it. There we go. And then definitely some bigger, kind of more exotic tree at the front. Not a gum. Let's go for one of the traveller palms here, actually. And that makes the hotel a little bit more palatable, doesn't it? It's not just on the road, kind of set back a little bit there. I think I can certainly get on board with that a little easy now. Cool, so we'll leave this in. It's going to want a lot of business, shopping and sightseeing, which will come once we come to build the build today, of course. And we're also going to line our trees, or our roads here with palms as well. And back to the original point, before I got distracted by enormous hotels, is what I'm looking for here, is to bring in most of the time 4-4 zoning. So we'll save a little bit of room here for some further developments, maybe a bit of commercial or park space or whatever. And we'll mimic that the other side as well. So what was that, 8 units? There you go, that's exactly the same measurement there. So we'll bring that in. And now we have this established, I want to make sure we get this zoning essentially to be back-to-back falls like this, because that's what we're seeing in the Gold Coast with that packed-in residential. I want to make sure that we have lots of cool, very nice beachfront houses. We'll use a selection of workshop and vanilla assets today, but this is going to be a really nice place to live, definitely one of the better places in the city. And we'll bring this one down from there just because it makes a little bit more sense. Cool. Like I mentioned earlier, we want all traffic lights off here, otherwise it's going to be a nightmare to drive down. Definitely just won't give way to these side streets, 100%. And then we can move into a little plopping lapse now, if we like, to get some residentials in here and start to see what this area's going to look like living by the beach. So it's nice to finally see a little bit of that suburban sprawl between here and the downtown, isn't it? Seeing those roofs makes an enormous difference, isn't it? And I really enjoyed watching this transport hub too. Tons of people getting on and off the trains here to actually get into this part of the city, which is fun. And this one is pretty busy as well. Look at that. Yes, boys, everyone. Yes, boys. Let's actually give them a way to cross over to the tram while we're here. We'll bang on a bit of node controller, and you're all walking out from this point, aren't you? So let's add a crossing node in there, and then we'll give them a little pathway as well. And we'll do a bit more of a song and dance of this tram plaza during our detour time lapse, but for right now it does give them access onto that if they want to go over there. And they all immediately do. Yes, please. That's what we like to see, isn't it? Then they all get on the tram. Wonderful. Cool, so I want to add a bit more height into here before we do come into that detailing time lapse. So let's start bringing some roads out over this way. And we'll give ourselves a little bit of room between these frames that we've already established. See if we can bring a connection up from this junction over here. And then that should give us kind of a little box to start developing a... Yes, I'm not sure if these are hotels or apartments in the Gold Coast. I imagine it's a mix of both, if not kind of Airbnb style places. But at least for what I want to use them for, we could also use some of the assets we had from our designs over by the marina a few episodes ago. Some of these modern condos would definitely work over here. So, be happy to have some of these in. Place one there, we'll have another one of them in this little block over here as well. Something like that. All of these are down in Thessia's asset list if you want to come and play with any of them. Set this height up here too. That's great. So the way I want to kind of construct these complexes is we'll use a few towers. Definitely green cities will also work nicely over here as well. So let's grab some of our taller, wider towers. Let's go for that one here, and then we'll also do a sort of chunkier, stubbier one there as well. And definitely having some towers surrounding our little transport hub here as well. Those are residential, so it might whinge a little bit of noise pollution from those stations, but we'll see how they get on. That's what we see in the Gold Coast. Relatively sporadic, random towers, pops of height around kind of larger pops of height, if you like. So I think I'm happy with that general configuration there. Let's give them some car parking as well, because we are lacking quite a bit of parking over this side of the city at the minute. So I think we'll grab a little bit of 22 metre poorly maintained, always does a job, doesn't it? We'll have a little curvy one in here as well. That should be okay. Then we can pack out the interior with lots of tennis courts. We'll grab tennis courts here. Let's go for a couple of them on the side of the parking lots over this side. I think what we will do here is, because we've got that little space between the pathways, is we'll start developing a bit of a walking pathway network between all these towers, which will hopefully get a nice bit of use, especially when we get some cute kind of tasteful tree linings around here too. Again, the more I play with these kind of pine boreal looking numbers, the more I'm starting to enjoy them. But yeah, we can get on board with some of that. There's pools around here as well, so we've got some pool props that we've used before, especially in the Thessia mansions over there a while ago. But I think I also want to use the community pool asset as well, just so we actually see people swimming about and enjoying this, what is a little community, I guess, isn't it? Again, we'll just use move it to position it, and let's push it back as far as we can disconnect it. That's quite a distance here, isn't it? So let's just not encroach upon those trees. Cool, we can have that tucked up in there. There's also quite a few parks knocking around here as well in Gold Coast, so I think what we will do is actually grab some of our tourism stuff. Beach volleyball courts would seem like they do quite nicely here, don't they? Especially kind of, on the beachfront, I guess. Maybe have a few of these over here. Also got the park with palms we could use here as well. And if we just give this a little 180, it looks like it's going to sit and fit almost perfectly in that space, isn't it? Which is absolutely ideal. Yes, please. Then we got the lantana palms there, haven't we? And a boab as well in this theme. So we'll grab some similar looking tropical trees and just fill out these spaces here with them. And before we know it, we should hopefully start having pretty convincing kind of tower and apartment complex knocking around here as well. Especially as you're driving past it on the street level. It's pretty cute here, isn't it? Love the green cities assets. It's got lots of different nice angles and shapes on them, haven't they? Some of the best assets in the game, in my opinion. Do love green cities. And also like a bit more car parking kind of in the front of the beach as well, like we're seeing in the Gold Coast. So again, I think we'll grab a bit 60 metre poorly maintained here. Let's just bring this straight down so we know we've got a bit more room to play with, and then we'll grab the 40 metre poorly maintained lots, I think. And we'll probably have them run this side, I imagine. Let's go for... We'll do 11. Don't want a massive car park. This should be enough to accommodate people wanting to visit the beach for the day. Wonderful. Let's grab any nodes that we don't like. Everyone nice and happy. I think what we will do is also set the car park to the same height as the road. That will give us a little bit of tearing on the beach terrain, but a little bit of soften will just see that away and blend it back in toward that sand texture. Fabulous. So there's some more fairly extravagant tower designs on the Gold Coast, and again I think the wall to wall would also be quite welcome in here too. So let's foot down for our larger assets, and we could go for kind of apartments and condos here that look straight out over the water. Just thinking, if we Alt V these into position, how much variation are we going to get? Because wall to wall does have lots of different shapes and sizes to it, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't mind that. It's going to contribute to that gradual crawling height as well in the grand skyline, isn't it? I think we'll have some of those in there. If anything, just want to bunch them up a little bit and actually double them back up on the back side of them. And I think that opportunity best presents itself here, doesn't it? So let's bring this road out now to fill this space in. Like, it's going to give us another 4 tiles behind. Go for that and then start curving it off so we can double them up to the best of our ability. And let's just nudge everyone along so we've got the room to bring it all in. Yeah, that's what I'm after. And then we'll come back into that wall-to-wall stuff, and we'll just Alt-V it all in various different shapes and configurations, hopefully without looking, again, bits of move it needed, but we'll get heavily involved in this in our detail and time-lapse, I think. Probably afford a few little pathways as well, moving back and to between the condos, like places like here. Get people down to the beach if they want to walk straight through. And this road here now doesn't need to be tram anymore, does it? So why don't we go for a fancier grass-lined road. We are sending cycling down here as well, so tree line and cycling would make the most sense, I think, wouldn't it, in this particular scenario. Yeah, tram lines are stopping here and here, and that's fine. The tram loop can end there back at the station and feed everyone back through into the inner city. But from out in the ocean, I'm also enjoying these little random pops of height here as well, because I think maybe I want one more in here. But, you know, we've also got this arterial road to place things on as well. So I think that's what we will do. There is a Green Cities tower that we don't have in, the tallest one, actually this one right here. I'd love to have this in. I'm again mentioning that we want to have some stuff along this way, so we can have some towers here perhaps. No, there's a real mix of like high and low density on the Gold Coast as well. You can have kind of like a lower residential building, kind of a 2-3 story, and then boom, immediate tower. That is a real mix in this part of Australia. So let's also see what we can possibly do with some of the Green Cities assets here as well. Let's bring one of those in. I really do love these little wood panelled assets. They're particularly fancy, aren't they? And again, that's going to be a perfect fusion there, isn't it? Thank you very much, Green Cities. I'm going to really miss Green Cities when we move to Cities 2. Easily one of my favourite DLCs, I think. There's so many nice assets come with it. That's a happy little fusion there, I think, as well, isn't it? Not losing too many balconies. Someone does have a kind of a crap view from this one, but they can deal with it. I'm sure they'll be alright. Again, similar to what we did on the other sides, I reckon just lots of cute little park designs in and around here. It looks like we can got the space to back up 2 of these little numbers. We can have outdoor gyms in these as well, I think, can't we? I mean, that configuration is going to work absolutely fine for me there. We could also, I guess, double up some of the basketball ones as well. But outdoor gym and a basketball hoop is going to be good. We'll complement that with another little Green Cities block. Why don't we go for some of these, and then I think certainly one of these kind of assets with the apple core scooped out of them, if you like, with this curve on the corner. Always goes a long way, doesn't it? Cool, but this should really be packing in the population for Thessia now. We've increased a fair old bit, and it will continue to increase during the detail and time-lapse as well, I imagine. So I think in terms of what's going to happen over here behind the metro station, I'm just going to do some more of this low-density residential sprawl that we're seeing in the Gold Coast and around all the towers that will eventually occupy this space. And I definitely think I mean, where's the nearest interchange here? You can't actually get off the Asari carriageway until Thessia, can you? And this actually, diamond interchange is starting to get a little busy now too, so I reckon an extra way off here. Because of course we don't have omnidirectionality into Sentinel, do we? So anyone wanting to get off for Sentinel has to come through the Thessia interchange, which is fine. That was a purposeful sort of design choice. But I reckon a little slip ramp here into the transport hub would probably be quite welcome. Of course, we're playing with a one-way network here, so this is fine. Curve that one in, and then we'll just bang on a bit of network multi-tools, curve mode from here up to the exit ramp. We'll hopefully get a relatively smooth on and off connection there. Not there though, let's make sure that's the same height as the exit itself. And then we will slope from there down to here. Cool, that does give us a little bit of an embanking, but the train is also embanked against that on the other side. So a bit of soften just to hide some of the cliff texture. And we'll probably just run Thessia's forest brush through the gap to continue that tree lining as we come down. So we have something like this. So much it's going to be a little while before the AI decides to actually pick those up. And whilst I can see it, we will also upgrade our tree lining here into something quite fancy as this all comes down here. Awesome. Lots of people moving up and down this street now, which is good to see. There we go. So there's one person now just siphoning off the Asari carriageway. It saves them having to go all the way into downtown just to take this couplet road out. In terms of another slip ramp for the opposite direction, I'm not really seeing a proper opportunity. We could upgrade the bridge into another section here and do kind of like a little curved off ramp, but we'd be really squeezing it in against the rail, and I don't think it's really necessary when they can get off here as well. So yeah, I imagine we'll probably leave that direction. But otherwise guys, with the bulk of our assets in, this does feel like a good place for a detailed time-lapse. More Suburbia to do out here, lots of detail around the transport hub to develop this into kind of a proper cute transport plaza. Surface painter, prop work around the hotels, some more stuff along the beach. The beach in the Gold Coast is pretty, it's just sand, you know, there's no major kind of umbrellas or people selling sunbeds out here. It's just nice cute sand to come and enjoy. Probably get some more towers in around these spaces as well, just continue to grow it all out. More amenities, sports parks and general designs. I think while we are here, a Bad Peanut sports venue is always welcome, isn't it? So let's go for an Aussie Rules football pitch if we can afford one, perhaps there maybe. Keep everyone nice and happy, right? Bit of cricket around here as well, perhaps. And generally, detail the area as we always do to develop a really nice outer lying space for downtown Thessia. I'm really happy with how this has developed today. Really cool contributions to the skyline. But let's get it fleshed out and detailed. And then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a little detailing review, shall we? So first off, enormous lover of how this very erratic Gold Coast inspired skyline has turned out. Really fun, mix of office and residential, and mainly residential through here. But a bit of commercial as well, with our train lines cutting right through the middle. Huge lover of this area now. But either way, lots of pathways and trees, typical Aussie kind of green space detail I've encountered before. Pubs and pools, there's more areas over here, little cricket pitch, kind of private pools for some of the hotels. And that does spill back out onto the ocean. Left the beach relatively bare like we see in the Gold Coast, with kind of a tree lining actually between the road and the sand that we can see in Google Earth. So just a nice bit of Thessia greenbelt to run alongside of that space there. People parking in here now and using the parks and all the car parking. New towers are now available in and around the hotel itself. Then people spurring back out onto our main road with the trams and the cycling coming down through here. In this space over outside the station, insanely busy, just so many people choosing to get off here to come and enjoy the Golden Egg Coast. With a little bit of cafe detailing, some stops outside the tram as well, which is very, very busy. We'll enjoy a stop and a collection here together. Also change this road to a one-way since there isn't a repeating tram going the opposite direction, so two-directional didn't really make sense. There you go, very nice, right? Absolutely love the transit hubs, and Thessia's transit hubs have to be the most walkable I think we've ever had in any series. I know there was some really busy Ilos ones, but this is insane, and I think it's partly because of the train network that runs around Thessia. Having a properly set up train network, of course, running around the entire island is really affecting this whole area today. So really enjoying it anyway, but bollards and tables and whatnot outside of the train station, and a little bit of commercial fused under the rails as well, with that pathway back to the metro that is getting used, which is always nice to see, isn't it? Love seeing that happen. And then a bit more commercial over here, U-Joy Entertainment unique alongside one of the King Leno uniques over here, and then just more general commercial vibes opposite all the residential. Nice tree detail and paths in between all of our towers. A bit more commercial over here, and a nice tree line in between the train lines and basically the rest of the infrastructure. Got in some more residential here in the time-lapse as well, and we've essentially nearly doubled the population of Thessia today. So a much needed residential expansion, which is really nice to see. We definitely needed more people in the city. Valkyrie was screaming for workers, so thankfully that's been satisfied now. But either way, we will carry it on down. We've also got some houses up and against the beach as well, like really super nice places to live, especially these Hearts of Korea assets that sit and overlook the ocean. Absolutely gorgeous. Big fan of this area. All our cycling IMT running all the way down this road now toward the bridge, and then we cross over our main bridge where the trams come over. I really love this stream as well that we set up in the kind of intro time-lapse. It really helps divide the landscape. And I think we'll probably do a few more streams kind of coming off the central mountain as we detail these areas. We've got a lot of countryside detailing to do outside of Sentinel as well, so maybe we'll do some more streams coming down towards this beach over here because we haven't done anything with this area yet. Definitely have a bit more terraforming detailing happen at some point too. More residential up against the train lines before indeed we do arrive back at the Master IMT roundabout, and we said we'd make a big song and dance out of this one as it's a key route back into Egglade up there as well. And there's not too many people on the trams here yet, and I'm definitely feeling a campus in this space here around this couplet network, the trains and the beach. This will be a really fun place to get some education in, I think, so definitely looking forward to getting involved with that. And then we haven't got anyone using the keys yet, but there are pathways here so they can use them if they want. Be interesting to see if the AI chooses to walk down here once they have a reason to, but it is an option for them at least anyway. And I love this view here. This is why we play this game, isn't it? Absolutely love repeated tree patterns all sandwiched in a tram line, and those very kind of Gold Coast inspired erratic pops in height in amongst all the residential. But using the Gold Coast today was a really great point of inspiration. I really enjoyed today's build, and it's really filled out this entire side of the downtown. And we're moving ever so closer towards Canberra as well, as we keep moving into Thessia's downtime projects. So otherwise, let's thank you all so much for watching. Please do enjoy your cinematic. I hope you've enjoyed this extra long episode of Thessia this week, because we missed it last week because of the Cities 2 stuff. Hope you enjoyed all the Cities 2 stuff as well. Thank you for all the support on the videos, doing like insanely well for me, so really appreciate that. But otherwise, please do enjoy your cinematics, but I'll shut up and leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.